What's up guys, welcome to new Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. Today I am going to show you how to make a zombie AI. It's going to be a very easy to follow, so let's get started. But first, if you are serious about learning and making your first game in Unreal Engine 5, join my Unreal Club. Inside, you will be able to download entire private files from my tutorials, enter private meetings and webinars with industry experts, access exclusive ebooks packed with the best tricks, get powerful asset frameworks to speed up your blueprints, and much more. The link is in the description. With that said, let's continue with the video. Alright, so for this zombie AI, we are gonna take the easy approach, which is using blueprints. If you wanna go ahead and learn how to use behavior trees for more advanced AI, I'll link some videos in the description, but we always have to analyze the situation and what kind of AI we wanna build each time. And in this case, our zombie AI will be very simple. We are literally only have, three states. Pretty much just searching, chasing, and then attacking. And for that, blueprint is just simply more convenient for this case, in my opinion. So with that said, let's go into the content browser, right click, create a new blueprint class, and it's going to be a character, as essentially is a pawn that has the ability to move around. Let's name this BP_zombie and open this up. Alright, so the first thing that we need to do is go to the mesh and of course apply a mesh. Now, just for now, let's go ahead and just put in, many, right? Just temporarily, put in -89 and -90. And of course, if you already have a zombie mesh model that you can put in, go ahead, okay? In this case, it's just really an example. So with that said, let's go to the event graph and delete the events. And now here's where we're gonna start creating off the logic. So let's go ahead and create a new custom event, and let's call this something as patrol, okay? This is gonna be the default state where the AI is just like wandering around searching for the player or whatever it is. So let's go ahead and drag and say AI move to. This node allows our AI to find a destination and move to that destination. So the pawn will be self, that's the one that we want to move. Destination will be get random reachable point in radius. And this node is super handy because it essentially finds a random location around the radius. So for the origin it will be get actor location, and then for the radius as well, how far away do you want the AI to be able to go to. Let's go and put like 2000 just for now. Alright, and with that said, on success you say delay. Let's make the AI just wait a quick 0.8 seconds, and then he will go ahead and patrol again. So it will be a loop. And if this fails, directly just go to patrol. Alright, and we will try again and try to find another route to go to. Alright, so this is a very simple behavior for patrolling, and this should simply work out of the box. So if I go here and drag the zombie AI into the level, and just go ahead and drag in a very important step, which is a nav mesh bounce volume, the AI should be able to move. Now, the nav mesh bounce volume is very, very important, okay? This is what tells Unreal Engine, where does the AI, is able to move. So put this to 20 and then press P on our keyboard. You can see that it will highlight all the paths, right? The possible paths that the AI can move through. So this is very important. If we press play, nothing happens. Why? Well, this is because the patrol custom event is never called, okay? So we just need to add a begin play and call patrol initially. And that's why patrol will be the default state, because in the begin play we call it. As you can see now, the AI is moving. It finds a random point, goes to it, waits 0.8 seconds, and then moves again. Now there's still some work to do. Of course, we're missing some cool animations, an actual zombie model, and then also, he's moving like too fast and turning like 90-degree angles, like super, like artificially, let's say. So let's go ahead and just change a bit the movement settings. So let's select the character movement component and change the max walk speed to around, let's do 300. And then let's scroll down, and in the rotation settings, let's enable a random rotation to movement. And then last but not least, let's go to class defaults, search for yaw, and disable this, okay? So now the AI will rotate using the character movement component instead of the yaw rotation by default, which is way smoother. And now you will see that he goes a bit smoother, slower, and he turns, there you go, it's a bit better. And trust me, when the animations are gonna be in place, they're gonna be, 10 times more. He's over there hiding, there we go. So let's go ahead and start to, set up the basic pawn sensing so he can see our player and then attack us, okay? So for this, let's go to the viewport, add a new component, and this will be pawn sensing. The pawn sensing component enables the AI to see and hear pawns and then go ahead and set up a target. So in this case, we are gonna set up a very simple AI where he only sees us, okay? So we are not gonna be using hearing or whatever. I covered that in my RPG series, so if you wanna check that out, go ahead. But in this case, the only thing that I want to do is update the sight radius to be maybe like 3000 instead of 5000. And then the visual angle, let's put in like 75, okay? So the AI doesn't see me straight away and compound save. So if we scroll down, you will see an on pawn event. Let's click on this, and this will add a new node in the event graph. So every time the AI sees a pawn, which in this case a pawn is any character in Unreal Engine. So for example, the AI sees the player, we will execute this following code. And guess what we can do? Create a new custom event with a chase target logic. And it's going to be very similar to this. So copy these two nodes. So the AI move to any self. Paste them over here. And then simply drag the target actor and add it as a input over here. Now when we call here chase target, we can drag the target actor to be pawn. And there we go. We pass it through a parameter, so through an input, into here, and we can use it. So yes, the AI move to has two options. We can apply a destination as we did over here, which is just a location in our world, or a specific target actor, which in this case is what we're doing through the inputs, right? And it's gonna be the player. So it's up to you. Now for the acceptance radius, let's increase this to 120. So the AI will not get too close to the player, so he has room to attack and everything like that. And then we don't need anything on success or on fail just for now, because well, the on-see pawn will be triggering multiple times. So even though it gets to our player and then we move again, this will trigger again, therefore this will trigger again, if that makes sense. So if we now press play, as you can see, the AI saw us and now he starts to chase us. As you can see, he reaches our destination, we move again and he continues to chase us. Everything is super smooth and working just fine. And as you can see, if I make it somehow that the AI doesn't see me initially, so let me spawn from here and I eject from the game, as you can see, he is just patrolling around and searching for the player. Okay, so everything's working fine. So now of course we just need to go ahead and execute the attacks and also a bit of a basic zombie locomotion. So let's begin with a basic zombie locomotion. So basically just having some basic animations, right? So idling and also walking around. In this case, I'm gonna be using this zombie anims pack. I will leave it in the description. It's from Fab, and yes, it is paid, but it is totally worth it if you wanna do a zombie game. Now, I don't know if there's a couple of free alternative animations on there in Fab. I don't think so. So honestly, this will be a pretty go-to. But yeah, this is just the one I'm gonna be using today. So if we go to animations, you can see that there's a lot of them. And there's like, for example, crawling, we have to attack, we have getting up, we have hopping, we have like interactions, right? So actually like, biting us, we have just standing, everything like that. In my case, I'm gonna be using standing. Now there's already a blend space, but in my case, I'm gonna be creating a new blend space so you guys can, see all of the progress. So in the content folder, right click, go to animation, legacy, and create a blend space 1D. A blend space you will see in a second, but it's just an asset in Unreal which will allow us to go ahead and transition between different animations depending on a value. So in this case, the AI has speed. Let's go ahead and select the SK mannequin skeleton. Now in my case, the zombie animations are for Unreal Engine 4. Okay, so I'm gonna select the Unreal Engine 4 skeleton, which actually gonna select this one, which is exactly the zombie one. But of course, if you have any other animation system, or you're using the mannequin, select the mannequin. In my case, I'm just gonna select this one, and then I'm gonna rename this to zombie plane space 1D and open this up. So now in the asset details, we can expand the horizontal axis, and this will be speed, as that's the value that we want to play with. So the minimum speed will be 0, but the maximum will be 300. And you might question, why 300? Well, that's because in the character movement component, the max walk speed is indeed 300. Okay, so you just need to match that up. And then we're gonna just go ahead and say snap to grid, so it should be easier to place them, and just search the animations in the asset browser. If you don't see any of these windows, you can always go to window and then click on them. But anyway, so in my case, I'm gonna need the idle, which is gonna be this one. So let me put this on the left where the speed is 0, and then I'm also gonna need the walk. So let's put this on the right where the speed is 300. So now if I hold the left control and I move my mouse around, as you can see, as the speed increases, I will transition from the idling to the walking animation. Now let's go ahead and search for weight and put it around 5, and this will just make the transitioning a bit more smoother. Okay, and that's it. Literally just close it and go back to the content browser, because we need one last thing, which is to create an animation blueprint. So right click, animation blueprint, select once again the same skeleton that you created the blend space with, which in this case for me is going to be this one, and then it's going to be ABP for animation blueprint _ zombie. Alright, so over here I just need to plug in my blend space. In this case, the blend space I think was called zombie, so it's gonna be this one, zombie blend space 1D. Okay, so make sure that you plug in the one that you just created, and then we're gonna leave one thing ready for later on. So just drag and say default slot. The default slot is just the slot that allows animation montages to play, and we will use this later on for the attacks. Okay, now we have here the blend space and it's working just fine. Now the speed is 0. If I put this to 300 and compile, he is walking. But of course, this speed animation has to update in game, right, in real time as the zombie moves, because otherwise he will always be stuck at 0. So let's right click and promote this new variable into the speed variable, and yeah, literally just call it speed. And then on the event graph, let's just get the pawn owner and get the velocity. So we're getting the velocity of the zombie, and then let's drag and say vector length, and this will convert it from a vector to a nice float, so a nice number that we can use for a speed. So if we drag the speed variable, say set, and plug it over here, boom, every frame this speed variable will update with the velocity of our zombie. So now if we go to our zombie blueprint, select the mesh, and in the animation class we select the ABB zombie, and we press play, boom, he is working just fine. It's super cool, right? It's literally working so good. Alright, so now we just need one last thing, which is of course the attack. So let's go ahead and create an animation montage, as I mentioned before. An animation montage is just an animation asset that is able to be played directly from blueprints. So in my case, let me go to the zombie anims, animations, standing, and then I have a couple ones. Under attack, I have this one here. I also have this one here, and I also have this one here. So I have a couple ones. I think I'm gonna be using this one just for now, but of course you can use any animation that you have or that you want or whatever. Okay, so once you have your animation for the attack, just right click and say create anim montage. Just press enter, and there we go. We have the animation montage over here. Press save and close. Close this, and then in the event graph for the chase target, let's literally just on the success do a play montage, and it's gonna be the first one over here. So now on the play montage node over here, we just need to get the mesh and plug it over here. So that's the mesh that I want to execute the animation on. And then the montage to play will literally be our attack. I don't remember which one was, so I'm gonna select it, go here and click this icon over here, so it will plug it in directly. And boom, I'm good to go. If I now press play, you can see that the animation will play. But something funny is working. The thing is that it is trying to execute the animations very close together. So basically it starts to attack, and then 0.2 seconds after it attacks again, so it interrupts the attack, if that makes sense, right? So imagine that he is spamming the attack button and he's kind of messing up the animation. So to fix this, we just need to make sure that he will finish attacking to then continue to attack again. So for this, let's create a new variable and literally call this something as can attack. So very important, this has to be a boolean, and so it will be true or false. Let's select this new variable, okay? And then by default, this will be true. Very important, okay guys? Make sure that you do this step. By default, true. And then with that said, literally, let's get can attack and drag a branch. Once again, on success, plug this here. And that way, the AI will only be able to attack if he can attack. And then we can just drag here, set attack to true. Sorry, to false, because we start attacking, so we set it to false. Copy and paste, and then on completed or interrupted, we set it to true. Alright, so when the animation is finished or interrupted, because whatever, we go back to true, and he can attack again. And now you can see, if I go and find my AI once again, there we go. Let's see, man, can you attack me? There we go. He attacks, and yeah, the animation is not interrupted anymore, so everything is working just fine. Now when he attacks, he stops essentially chasing. That's just kind of a little thing over here. As you can see, if we do it like this, it's working just fine. So sometimes he will get a bit stuck, but just, you know, move around and he should be able to attack again. Now you can see also the camera kind of bugs out when he hits me. So that's just because the arm is going in front of my player. So to fix this, on the zombie AI, literally just go to the mesh and then search to the collision presets, set this to custom, and set camera to ignore. And now you will see that this will be totally fixed, okay? Alright, so last but not least, let's just launch a little trace to apply damage to my player. I'm not gonna be creating the damage system in any way here. I already have tutorials on that. Again, you can check them out, but I'm gonna just leave it ready for you guys, okay? So what we are going to do is go to the montage, and in the montage we can specify on what specific frame of the animation we want to trigger the attack trace, right? Which is just to deal damage. So around here, when we are hitting, or the enemy AI is hitting, I'm gonna go to the notifies track, right click, add notify, and then montage notify. Accept, save, close, and then event graph. So now on the montage, I can do something on the notify begin. So as you can see, the notify is just a little event that we add on the montage that then we can use here to apply logic. So when we get into that specific frame of the animation, I want to do a sphere trace for objects. This is just an invisible sphere that will go from one point into another. In this case, from the enemy just forward to hit the player. So literally you say right click, get actor location, plug this here, and then for the end point you say get forward vector. Sorry, we need to get first the actor rotation. So we get the actor rotation. Then from here, the forward vector, okay? Because we want to launch this trace forwards, and then just multiply this by a value, okay? This is how many units forward we want to be able to detect the trace. Right click, convert this second pin into a float, so it's a nice number. Let's put in like 200, okay? So again, this will be the distance that the enemy AI will be able to hit the player. Add these two values together, and then plug this addition into the end. And that's it. The radius will be something as maybe 20, okay? And then the object types you drag, say make array, and then set this to be pawns. Once again, pawns in Unreal Engine are your characters, so the player will also be a pawn. And then just to test this, let's put this for duration so we can see it, and let's just put like 0.5 seconds, you know? All right, so now, as you can see, when he attacks, he launches this trace where he hits the player. And on there, we would be able to say, okay, if we have hit something, we get the out hit and break it. And now we have all the information about the object that we have hit it. So we can get the hit actor, which in this case would be the player, and say apply damage. And then plug this on true, and then on the damage you put like 10 or whatever you want, and that's it. The enemy AI will be hitting the player with this animation and trace and applying damage. Of course, again, I don't have the health system implemented, but if you already have a health system, boom, it integrates right away from one of my tutorials, for example. And that's pretty much it. So last but not least will be to put in an actual zombie character, which we can do. So what I have done is imported this zombie pack, which I had in my library. I think this is one of the free for the month assets from some time ago. We have a couple of different characters. I really like the goal. If we go to the mesh over here, got it here. Super cool. So I'm gonna be using this guy over here. So I'm gonna open up this zombie blueprint, and then I'm gonna go here and replace the mesh to goal, and we have different pieces or the whole body, and boom, here it is, and everything is working fine. So that's it, guys. If you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to my channel. Join my Unreal Club if you are serious about learning Unreal Engine 5. And now, yes, with all I said, bye bye.